Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are tracking the totally bizarre digital evolution of an absolute classic horror character. We often think of classic movie monsters as being frozen in their specific era, right? But the modern internet has this incredibly unique way of recycling them. Today, we're looking at exactly how a bloodthirsty 1980s killer doll was transformed by the YouTube algorithm into highly binge-watchable daily entertainment.
12,199,968. Just let that massive number sink in for a second. That is the exact view count a single 50-minute YouTube compilation video of Chucky achieved in just 7 months. It was uploaded to a channel called Fear the Home of Horror back in October of 2025, and it literally exploded. For a nearly hour-long compilation to pull in those kinds of numbers, that requires an absolutely incredible level of audience retention. So we've got to ask, how exactly did this happen?
Well, here's our roadmap for the Explainer today. 1. The 12 million view icon. 2. Tormenting Andy, the early years. 3. Brides, Seeds, and Comedy. 4. Return to True Terror. And finally, number 5, the YouTube horror ecosystem.
All right, Section 1, the 12 million view icon, unpacking a massive viral phenomenon.
Now, what's really interesting about this is that when you think of typical viral hits, they're usually super quick and punchy, right? But this 50-minute video somehow maintained the retention to hit 8 figures. It's titled Chucky Being an Absolute Icon for 50 minutes. And you can see the definition of absolute icon right here. It's this upbeat, modern internet slang for someone deeply admired for entertaining or dramatic behavior. It completely shifts the context of a grim, bloodthirsty 1980s killer doll into something, well, highly entertaining. It's like a highlight reel of sassy one-liners, middle fingers, and darkly comedic kills.
Breaking down the raw data of the upload gives us even more context here. This channel commands a massive audience of 2.8 million subscribers, and this video alone generated 33,000 likes. The appeal is just perfectly tailored for the platform. Whether you want a quick jump scare, a whole collection of gruesome murders, or honestly, just to rewatch iconic scenes from horror history, they are expertly packaging decades of cinema into this easily digestible internet content.
Moving on to Section 2, Tormenting Andy, the early years.
So, looking at the source data, the character's history is organized into these distinct cinematic blocks, starting right here with the original trilogy, Child's Play 2, and Child's Play 3. These 3 films are the absolute bedrock of the franchise. They establish the foundational lore of America's favorite killer doll, setting the rules and the tone for literally everything that would follow over the next few decades.
In a defining characteristic of this era, a singular obsessive focus. It was a straight-up slasher dynamic, focused entirely on one core mission, tormenting his original victim, young Andy Barclay. There wasn't some sprawling ensemble cast of villains, it was a tight, relentless game of cat and mouse between a monster and a single young boy.
Okay, Section 3, Brides, Seeds, and Comedy, a massive tonal shift. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive tonal shift I'm talking about. We go from the relentless torment of a single victim in the Andy Barclay era to an entirely new genre. Enter the Tiffany era. According to the source data, this is where our villain meets the demonic doll of his dreams, Tiffany, played by Jennifer Tilly. The franchise pivots incredibly sharply away from the grim singular torment of the early years, and it leans heavily into comedic romance and domestic monster drama. It's wild.
Section 4, Return to True Terror. Back to basics.
Phase 1 of this return to form is Curse of Chucky, where the focus actually shifts to terrorizing a family with an unusual connection. Then Phase 2, Cult of Chucky, takes the horror directly into a claustrophobic insane asylum. And this actually sets the perfect stage for Phase 3, the viral era. This is where all of these distinct movie phases get flattened into a 50-minute compilation that turns the character into a modern internet sensation.
The description specifically promises that, quote, an insane asylum is the place for Chucky to take on old nemeses and new victims. The promise of old nemeses and new victims tells you absolutely everything you need to know about why this works so well on YouTube. It guarantees that constant escalating action necessary for a viral hit. It's just non-stop momentum.
Section 5, the YouTube horror ecosystem. What happens when the algorithm takes over?
So the crucial point here is that this 12 million view compilation doesn't exist in a vacuum, right? It lives in a wonderfully chaotic mix of digital consumption. Look at this feed. Right alongside hardcore creature features like Bugs the Bunny Killer, the algorithm serves up Mr. Bean's Black Friday Accident and Minions Love Babies. Modern audiences are seamlessly consuming terrifying horror side by side with slapstick comedy, superhero action, and kids' cartoons. The algorithm just throws it all together.
To put this into perspective, yes, 12 million views is incredible for a 50-minute horror compilation, absolutely huge. But in the broader YouTube ecosystem, Mr. Bean is sitting at an astonishing 73 million views, and the Minions animation is at 25 million. So slapstick comedy and family animation still undeniably dominate the raw algorithmic numbers, even as horror manages to find this massive second life online.
Ultimately, the digital age fundamentally turns horror villains into binge-watchable content. By organizing literally decades of cinematic history, from the slasher roots with Andy, through the comedic Tiffany era, and right into the Asylum, and compressing all of that into one easily accessible compilation, a terrifying movie monster is successfully rebranded into daily, bite-sized internet entertainment. It's a total transformation.
I want to leave you with this final thought as we wrap up today's explainer. Look at how digital media consumption has forever altered our relationship with pop culture. Is a character like Chucky scarier as a relentless movie monster confined to the silver screen, or as a viral internet icon living right next to Mr. Bean in your daily video feed? It completely changes how we process fear and entertainment, doesn't it? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to keep questioning the algorithms that shape what we watch.